I really believe that AACS should be the largest and the most capable organization for the Asian community. And I believe that from the bottom of my heart.
Me, I actually see at a bigger picture. ACS actually serve a very important role in terms of, the American society, in terms of the diversity. Because what ACS doing is not just for the community, it's also helping the other community, appreciate or learning, things with the Asian community.
One of the most important things about AACS is the fact that it's community-based. It works with grassroots people. And a lot of times grassroots people don't have a voice. And I think one of the things that you bring to the table is allowing those people to have a voice about health, about social services, about things that are going on in their household.
I'm just pleased that we have the opportunity to celebrate this and to, be able to take the next step as a nonprofit, to be able to expand services to the community, to help, as we were talking about mental health, how do we help people develop an appropriate system or network.
So how do we prepare the future, our young people, to be proud of who they are, to know how to stand up and speak up for their rights and their families' rights? And then also, how do we protect those who are the most vulnerable, which has to include those living with chronic diseases, our seniors. And I know that ACS will be there speaking up for those from here on out.
The first time when I met the Dr. Lee Suzai, and is in the church. During that time, he's almost like our elder, and people will respect, and also his wife, Wu Xinrou, and she's with our congregation now, so we call Living Fountain congregation.
He is very religious person, but to start this organization, AACS, is really because he wants to worship our ancestors, like the families I try to mention, Kim family, Min family, that they all are at the Woodland Cemetery, and that's why every Qingmingjie in April, they all go there to worship the ancestor, and that is the sole purpose of him to establish this organization.
I met Dr. Lee Suzai, the late founder of AACS, when I was principal of Columbus Chinese School. It's his idea of building a stronger community made me to want to serve AACS. So I'm part of community members. So I think every community should spend time, should give his own effort to make the communities better.
I became involved when Elizabeth Chung kind of brought the community back, did lots of things to get the agency back on the map. I remember being at her house until wee hours of the morning with Yung Shen, right? Working on grants, because it was just a very grassroots effort to get some funding in place, to get some projects started.
Once Elizabeth became part of AACS, she also imposed her own values as it relates to health. I mean, she was very passionate about health. She was a nutritionist by trade. She became really focused on advocating for not only health access, but making sure that, I think she did probably the first mammogram piece with, the Asian community. She did a lot of firsts that were integrated into AACS at that time.
I do remember during that time that the Columbus Chinese Church was very involved with bringing volunteers, hosting health fairs at their site, etc. I do have to say that I have been pleased to see over the years the mission to become more inclusive, to include other religions, other residents of Columbus from other national origins. That has been, I've seen a big growth pattern in. And then the growth of the youth-oriented projects as well.
I think the struggle we had when we first started was Teresa Hong was the only physician that we could get to volunteer time. And she worked tirelessly. She was taking phone calls, referring people, and basically it really was, she got pregnant during the time, got married, and she wanted to take and focus more on her family and her own practice because she had a practice too to run. And so that's what made her leave. Now we have Dr. O'Hanley, who is just as committed as Teresa Hong was.
It provides a lot of services, to the community. So, interpretation is one big thing, because I also have friends who cannot speak English, and then I know they really use the service and find it so helpful. I also know ACS also have connection with other groups like Latino, urban need and different. So I think that kind of relationship also, is so vital.
I got involved with AACS because I wanted to do something about hepatitis B. And what had happened back when I was a lab director, we were moving HIV testing to chemistry, and the chemistry supervisor said that there is 10 times as much hepatitis B as there are HIV, and someone should do something about it. My office was at Asian American Community Services in 2008. And from 2008 to 2012, it was a 4-year grant. I coordinated hepatitis B screening, education. The stories that have happened has made me feel that, there's a way to eliminate it in the world. Even the World Health Organization is now saying it could be eliminated in the world. It's almost eliminated here in the US. We're down to less than 1%, but half of that 1% are Asian born, and they come from endemic countries that need to set up an immunization plan.
Then from there, we went on another journey. Dr. Liu had approached me about Asian Free Clinic, which now is Asian Health Initiative. And Elizabeth came to the table with AACS. And Dr. Liu, of course, represented Asian Community Council. And we realized that it ended up being a model. It became a model with agencies, community-based agencies, a hospital, and then family medicine. Because one of the things we realized is that after 5 o'clock, the clinics closed. So here was an opportunity for us to take and do a free clinic. So we started out with the Asian Free Clinic, and then as you know, it grew. We had people from the Latino community come and say, can we get a clinic? We want to take and do the same model, and that's our Tuesday clinic. And then we had the Ohio Muslim physicians came to us, and that's how we created the Noor Clinic. So we ended up with 3 different clinics of different ethnicities to really look at the language barriers and also look at the traditional cultures that people have.
Every person need to have a place to go, and then especially for the immigrants, they will always looking for the people looks like them, and sometimes we tell people just, if you have a health problem, just go to free clinic in Hispanic culture, okay? Go there, go here. They say, but who are them? I have no idea, right? So I think it's important to have an agency like us for them to feel like home, and even Columbus is so big, and we made a lot of Asian community here, but people just spread out anywhere. You don't even see a Chinatown in Columbus, So I feel we are the home for our community, And so I think it's important to have an agency like this.
AACS provides services for victims of different type of like violence. I mean, case management, helping them to connect to service. I mean, because I'm also in social service, so that's just a group that it's so hard for them to find help from regular agencies because of language and also cultural barriers. So having a place that they can actually seek help when they're in a time in need means so much for the community. And something so simple like ESL, I mean the computer. So I would say AACS have done so much for the Asian community.
I'm also very glad to announce thank for the generosity of Ms. Tweak. She's offering scholarship for our students in April. I would like to commend her, and I hope that just a strike will initiate more reactions, so we'll continue to get the more scholarship support, so we can expand this program to cover more students.
Where do I see us going in the future? I think the future is bright, but I think we've been operating the same way, and we need to take it to another level. We need to take and look at more of outreach. What we haven't done as a community is pass the baton to our younger generation. And I think that there's an opportunity to do a leadership program that incorporates not only young women, but also young men, teaching them the history of the Asian community here in Columbus and in the United States. And I think that is powerful, because one of the things that I believe is that you got to know where you came from in order to move forward.
So it's important not just stay here, use this as our base, but we have to go out to outreach to not only our community, also outreach to American mainstream community, to be part of their team, be part of their game, so that our voice can be spread out.
It's a wonderful group. They work very hard, and so I would just say stay focused, keep going, and I believe definitely AACS will continue to serve the community in a very meaningful way.
I think the organization needs to continue that flexibility and also analysis of what is needed, because if it's not needed, then people will not come to us. As I have become more involved, I see the importance of what they do in the community, and I think that if we could continue another 40 years, that would be fantastic.
I just want to say congratulations on 40 years of providing community services for the Asian community. It's been a pleasure to work with you guys, and I'm very happy that to see the growth and the development and the stability that the nonprofit has, that we've been able to get something from a little seed up to something that's blossoming and providing consistent services for the community.
I think that will help us to extend our help to all the communities. And for example, when we do the hepatitis B screening, and we raise our bar, not only to help the Asian community, but also we helped to screen 1,400 people in the African-born community. This is the reason I'm saying that HQFC should be our future.
So then we can work all together. So make sure this community in Columbus become more prosperous and more peaceful, and no violence. And if people need help, they know that there's a place called AACS they can come to and get help.
So I would like to see that they continue performing, also getting helps which they will not otherwise get. And especially I want this HAY program to continue excel the mentor and mentoring program become the nucleus of the programs. And for the staff, I congratulate for all the good jobs you have done.
I think there's a strong role for speaking up and being at events. I feel that in my public health role, I'm so often at tables where Asians are absent from those conversations. So I would love to see in one realm, AACS be the leader and the voice for Asians and Asian Americans living in Central Ohio, and partnering across the state around those initiatives as well.
And so I think your agency can be that beacon of hope that brings not only Chinese, Korean, Southeast Asians, brings all of the community together to take and work on one accord with one large voice, talking about the needs in the community and allowing the community to still maintain its tradition and its culture. I think that's one of the most important things that AACS can do. And it also would be being a catalyst to bring other ethnicities, Asian descendants, Asian-born people to the table. You know, one of the best things have done that is the Asian Festival. So how can you tap on what they've done to take and bring everyone to the table so that everyone has a voice? I think that is key and that's important for the agency to do.